Hey, what's up? It's me, your girl E, coming to you today for a Saturday writing session. It is Saturday, June the 13th. We are talking about writing a mystery this month. We had talked about last week, whew, how writing a mystery can be a lot of work, right? You just can't go into writing a mystery all willy nilly, right? What you need to do is definitely understand the material, know the material, um, do your research on writing mysteries. If you are not a mystery reader or someone who likes to write mystery movies or mystery TV shows, I strongly recommend that if this is something that you want to do, engage in those activities. Read numerous mysteries, read numerous suspense novels, watch them on TV, and learn how to pick up the lingo. There is lingo, okay? And as a writer myself, I personally do not like to put limits and boundaries on anyone that's in that creative realm, but certain genres you have to know what you're talking about. You have to do the research because people who are in those fields or like those genres can pick up that you don't know what you're talking about. It's not going to be pretty. You have to also write for the reader's expectations. Okay, then we had discussed what are the certain type of mysteries. One is the cozy mysteries, require a great deal of setting and character description, maintaining a slow pace while keeping it interesting, right? The police procedurals, as well as medical and legal mysteries, such as the James Patterson Alex Cross series. He also has a cross series with the women. I think the Women's Murder Club. I think I read that twice. I mean, two of his books, and John Grisham. That's what he's known for. He was a lawyer, so he knows his law. Okay. These mysteries require extensive specialized knowledge. You have to know what you're talking about. These are suited for professionals in each field, detail oriented writers who love the nitty gritty of the procedure. All right. Next, we have The Private Eye. The Private Eye novels and detective fiction, readers expect a real, interesting, believable main character. So, once again, with character development, you have to have a main character that your readers can really relate to. They cannot be someone that is just far from reality. The PI will have interactions with police, and those must be realistic. So, knowledge or research in this area is necessary, but not to the exacting degree requires for police procedures. All right, I actually like the PI. When I watched the TV shows that deals with mysteries and crime and drama, I actually like the PI better because they really don't have to follow rules. They can kind of go against the police procedures and do a little bit more thorough and intensive investigation. Um, the well-known PIs are the type of detectives are Sir Arthur Cohen's Sherlock Holmes and Agatha Christie's Pie um, Pirate series. I hope I didn't mispronounce that. Okay, the protagonist also makes a living. They make a living solving crime, so this is their bread and butter. Um, they do background investigations. Modern PIs cracked computer experts. So, a background in IT or related fields would be helpful to a writer who wants to tackle a PI novel. So, the PI, either the PI knows or the PI has a hacker, computer hacker. Remember Scandal? Remember, what's his name, Huck or Hawk? That there's always like someone who knows how to hack into the computer system. Okay. There's a tone of dark, gritty, particularly bloody, or brazen urban. It's there's kind of a darkness to them, meaning there's a reason why they're not a cop. There's a reason why they're not a detective. There's a reason why they chose the PI life instead of the more traditional solve the crime career. Okay. Other types of mysteries, there's also historical mysteries such as combine a setting from the past with the usual puzzles or murder inherited in a mysteries, right? You also have paranormal mysteries. These that include some elements of supernatural. Historical settings and supernatural elements can be combined with any of the subgenres well above. And then there's suspense, but we're not going to get into that right now, right? Again, writing a mystery, you have to know your information. You have to do your research. You have to have believable characters because your reader is going to pick up on that. Especially the historical mysteries. You know why? Because there's people who love history. Even with any genre, okay? If you're writing a period piece, you have to have facts. One of the best period pieces that are out now, it's not a mystery, but one of the best to me, this is my opinion, historical period piece TV shows is The Gilded Age, right? We have the Russells, we have the Van Ryns, and this is taking place in the early 1900s in the industrial area. So we have the Rockefellers, we have the Vanderbilts. Okay, in fact, when we're watching the TV show, I know I am, and I'm watching the episode. I'm Googling how accurate is this information. Even when the Russell's daughter got married to the Duke, and how emotional she was, how emotionally driven it was to be in society. Now we are talking about old money versus new money, and we've all are familiar with this mindset, especially back in the day, right? So let me start over. When we're looking at period pieces, something like that, of course, we're going to add a little fiction to it. We're going to add a little drama to it. We might even tweak it up a little bit to really add that wow factor. But that's something that we have to take in consideration, especially with writing a historical piece, especially a mystery, right? We have to also take into consideration what state you're writing this in, okay? Because some states have different laws. Of course, we have the cops who were supposed to be the authority, who's supposed to protect and provide the justice. You have the legal system. Some legal systems apply differently in different states, right? You have to take that in consideration. You must do your research, because the readers are going to pick up on that and they're going to tear you to shreds. And we don't want that. One of the things you want to take into consideration is money. If you are putting money into it, take a look at how much money it's like. If it's, say, $1 million today, it's not really a lot of money. Some people like me, it's a lot of money. But to some people, it's not a lot of money. Now, back in the day, say the early 60s, especially in the turn of the 1900s, that was considered $1 billion. Okay? So when you're writing down money, one of the things that I do is I will put, they wrote down a certain amount, and when it was given to so and so, they gasp at the large sum. So now that's letting your reader know that is a lot of money. I don't put the exact amount because I don't want to date my work, because I want the reader to know that when they're reading my work, a lot of money is going to be a lot of money for that specific family, that specific culture, right? So when you have to tap into something like that, maybe use certain words, maybe don't mention the exact. It doesn't have to be about money, the exact, right? Also, you want to take into consideration names, the names that are people that are like the names today are just whatever. People are naming their children colors, they're naming them directions, they're naming them verbs, they're naming them, you know what I mean? But back in the day, there weren't those types of names. And even if there were, it was very extremely rare. Okay. So definitely taking that consideration. Also look into when you look at the private eye again, understand character development is key, because your character, the private eye, is to be considered dark. Okay. Not Batman dark, but then again, Batman is a private eye. Things that make you say, All right, guys, I said I have nothing left to say because we're going to finish this up in the next 2 weeks. All right. Have a great and safe Saturday.